We should be back. Mm-hmm. Actually, nothing ever happened. This is DG Podcast from the very beginning. Let's not pretend that anything interrupted us as we're doing this. We don't hear any echoes as it comes on. I'm relying on Ross. We solved it.
Nope.
It was coming from the laptop. Chance is a horrible human being. Nobody loves him. Not even his
It didn't crash. We deliberately turned it off.
I did. I was like, this is bad. I'm turning it off. With me, I have Jason. As you hear me muffled leaning over. With me, I have Jason, as always. The unemotional.
Yep, I'm here.
Incapable of real love. As his wife has told him before. And also Ross, who I conned into coming and joining us for the heck of it. I'm going to adjust the camera.
I'm easily persuaded.
It was one of those, he had nothing better to do, and it's like, why not? And we're hanging out, and this is a DG Podcast after, I guess, a year, as Chances reminded us.
It's been a while, yeah.
But that's okay, because I'm off the camera now. But that's okay, because we have had stuff to do. Jason, yes. How are things? What's been going on?
It's one of life goes on.
Nothing to fill in the blanks, or you're useless.
No.
I've seen a lot of movies. I've played a lot of games. I own a Nintendo Switch, which Chancellor's repeatedly told me he hates.
What?
But I really enjoy the console.
Switch is fine.
I don't know how to fill in a year's period of time of what's been going on.
Well, Chance has no soul, remember?
That's true.
I mean,
I'm angry Jason doesn't have emotions and Chance has no soul.
He liked Batman versus Superman.
Ooh. That's true. There's something emotionally, physically wrong with him. We have an email from Chance. Let's read our email to start this off, this disorganized, horrible podcast that never had a problem because you won't be able to tell when we finally publish the audio. Jason, what do we have for an email?
Oh, boy. So, let's see. I got to get into it first. I didn't realize Chance had sent us an email.
He did send an email, and he assured me there's a lot of Friends references.
There would be.
Which I'm looking forward to.
Lovely.
So, why? Man, you can't just get into it? Come on, just sign in.
I don't know which screen to look at. The one that's live or the one that's delayed.
That's driving me crazy.
Ross has Jason's useless. Ross has a day going. You get some homework done.
What's that?
You get your homework done.
What's the code?
Most of it.
I don't know. You want me to read it?
No, you should have just gotten a code on your phone just now.
Oh, why am I going to announce this over the air?
Text it to me.
Oh, my hell. What's the code?
That's what IM is for.
Oh, my gosh.
Hey, it's telling me that I need to verify, and you're the one that's on the account. You know, I logged into this email account earlier today.
Yeah.
No problems.
Except for now.
Exactly.
It would be.
Is Chance still with us? I don't see him saying anything in the chat. Nothing? Alright.
Should come back.
It's irrelevant. We're producing audio, and this is how things go. This is how professional podcasts go that used to have a decent number of listeners.
So that was you just now.
Oh, I heard it.
It's telling you that I logged in, apparently. Okay, so
I have to approve now?
Holy cow.
Yes, this was me. We're all set. Jason, take it away.
He's got like a... He didn't even send an email. He sent an attachment.
Is it audio?
No, he like typed everything in a Word document and attached it to the email.
How long is this essay?
Oh, it's a page, but it's tightly packed. So, he says, a tall and angry birdie told me the band was getting back together this Thursday.
See, this is worse than a normal band getting back together. This is like Guns N' Roses, where they hated each other for decades, and they're back together, but it's not the same.
That's true.
Slash does not talk to the redhead. I can't remember his name.
In our karate class recently, they've actually been playing some decent music in the other room. Like, we share the gym with, like, gymnasts and stuff. The other day, some songs by Sting and the Police came on.
Hey.
And it just reminded me that the drummer of the Police hated the other members of the band so much he put their pictures on his drums so he could hit them with the sticks. Anyway,
this is news to me.
He says in my best Brooklyn accent, "How you doing?" But I can't do it, so he's
no. That was sufficiently terrible, Jason.
I know. He says that he's jazzed that Yoko Lindsay didn't break us up permanently.
Let's not bring her into it. We had this conversation on the podcast once before. I wish her nothing but the best. I just wish we could have
ended on better terms,
or even ended really at all
on terms,
and at least not horrible. But I wish her nothing but the best, and hopefully everything's going well for her. Anyway,
so he mentions that we've got Ross on the lineup today. He also says that you have friends to count on. He says, I can't believe it's been an entire year since the last episode. Well, hey.
He started going through withdrawals and sending me angry messages.
And he does mention that the website's not up. It's actually back up today, but I couldn't get the other information
Jason's
out.
our IT support, and he just Ross couldn't find it.
It's been a long time, man.
Yeah, it kept saying there was a virus or something every time I tried to get on.
Really? Your computer's now infected?
Yeah, I guess.
With the DG podcast. It's a disease.
Yeah, there's worse things.
Polio.
So to move on, he says he's been listening to other shows to fill the void since our radio silence.
I don't know if we want you back. You're tainted now.
Yeah. He says we were on a break.
We were. See, I knew it. Keep going.
Well, that's three Friends references right there in the first thing. So,
what were
the first was the "How you doing," and the next one was having friends. He actually capitalized it.
Well, we can't see that.
Yeah, you guys can't, but I can't. That's why I said there's three. And
You're
then
so bad at reading emails. That's why we have you do it, Jason.
I know. We've been over this before.
This is a long-running thing of Chance hating how Jason reads the emails because he butchers them.
Which is exactly why we do it, to tick him off.
I love it. Keep going.
Anyway,
it takes a while, like the nuance of what he writes.
He's got a new human being now in his life. No, his another little one. His wife had a baby.
Pedophile mistress? I took that in the wrong direction. I realized he had a child.
Really. So they have
advice when he had his first child too.
Well, he already had one. He's like several years older now.
Yeah, he doesn't count.
But then he got married again, and we sent him that great shirt for his wedding present. And then he had a baby.
The only branded podcast shirt that we've ever produced.
Yep.
That me and Jason designed and sent it to him. And printed one and had it sent to him.
Yep, it was awesome. So now he's got 3 kids. Lost his job, got a better one, sold off a large portion of his retro gaming hoard.
Oh no.
He had a pretty good NES and Genesis collection.
Oh. Yeah. I'm going to skip this next part. Okay. He says that he's going to need a paleontologist to dig up his love life because I guess his wife's job and his their schedules are so conflicting. Anyway,
Just go back and listen to that podcast that I put together before his wedding. Remember, giving advice about how to handle the wedding night. Because
it's been too long, man.
Yeah, his concerns about performing, and that what he needed to do is make sure that he had. Well, he doesn't need an assistant, but the lighting. Make sure the lighting's okay, and not do the rabbit out of the hat trick. The whole gag was that I was implying that it was a performance rather than anything sexual. I'm ruining the joke now.
Apparently. So his son's been actually dating a solid 6 months now.
I remember this.
Apparently he found a girl named Emily, and it's his first girlfriend, and they've actually lasted for 6 months.
I can't remember the last drama that showed up, but I remember giving Chance crap about it.
Well, for a first girlfriend, this is amazing.
It's a long time.
It's going to suck when they break
especially
up.
Since this kid's in like high school or something. So, roller coaster for 2017. He hopes we're going to be back on track for 2018, etc., etc. He says he's introduced himself to Ross, but apparently we'll do a better job of that. So
we've done a terrible job. You just see his face and he's kind of makes like comments. Keep going.
He calls me Doc Jason again, and you Smelly Cat Peterson. So that's another Friends reference.
Oh, you're so cool. Was that
yeah. No, there's some more stuff. He says Geekly Pursuits. He's been talking. He's finally taking in Star Wars: The Last Jedi. He got to see it in an entirely empty theater.
Yeah, I saw it.
Not surprising.
I just sit there and I see him sitting there right in the middle, vast empty space, but all the way around him. He's just sitting there with his popcorn and his drink. But let's see. Really nothing like the absence of humanity in a movie theater to make my antisocial heart leap with joy. If I could rent out the entire theater just to see a movie, I'd do it.
Yeah.
I hate watching movies with other people.
I do it every time. Tom Center, he said. Well, yeah.
He said he liked it a lot. Felt the movie ended on a hopeful tone, contrary to the assertions made by many of its detractors.
Let's tear it apart.
Oh, yeah.
What else? He says he's on Marvel's The Runaways. That was a somewhat good series. It kind of went off the deep end after they killed that one kid. The Gifted, The Flash, Goofy Fun of Black Lightning. He's skipped Supergirl, Arrow, and Legends of Tomorrow. Just don't care anymore. Supergirl and Arrow, he says they were dopey superhero soap operas. Legends was good a little bit, a couple times had its moments, but it's just lacking numbers at the moment. And then heavily collecting into 360s now. 360 now, he's divested himself of all Genesis, PS1, PS2, and NES games and consoles.
Who collects for old school disc consoles? That's such a weird...
He was for a while. He was collecting PS1 and PS2, but he says he's gotten rid of Genesis, PS1, PS2, NES, all the games, all the consoles.
Oh,
Just got rid of all of them.
that's depressing.
It is depressing. I wonder how much money he made off of it, though.
I think his NES was something like 5.
Wow, nice.
I don't recall exactly.
He's looking into buying Thundercats and He-Man's crossover. He-Man crossover. Evidently, DC went and did that thing, and so I shudder to think. And that's it. That's it for Chance's life in the past year. All boiled down into one short email.
Well, read, I might add.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Well, that's traditional.
Just traditional. Ross is part of this now. You're part of the. It's much like the Final Solution. You're part of this now. You can't pretend it didn't happen.
I was just doing my job.
I was just doing my job. Hitler said it was okay. Chance isn't happy.
Then I did my job justice.
Chance has nothing to add. So I know Ross. He took the self-defense class where he got to watch me do push-ups.
and
and
horribly tried.
Yeah, we all do our best. His father grew up with my sensei. So we're all proxy, like know each other because Jason's from the same class. Yeah, we take a colonial America class together, and we had this moment where we started discussing how bad episode 8 was, and I was like, "You should come on the podcast."
I could go on for way too long.
Yeah, I don't know where to start with what's been going on because I can't feel this guy. Okay, so for me, large amounts of depression and weight loss. I fill the hole in my soul with physical items and purchase large, expensive things. I have a Switch and other things. It doesn't make it better, but spending money it slightly does. Shut up, Chance. We don't care for your opinion.
Chance, yes, episode 8 was good, but there were huge problems.
I watched some movies. Things happened. Life is not what I hoped it would be.
It was pretty great that Princess Leia floating back into the ship was a meme like instantly.
Oh my god. So let's at least address episode 8 because that's the big thing to talk about. I saw Justice League. I saw a bunch of the other ones. I don't think Jason did. So
no, I haven't seen Justice League yet.
So Ross, why don't you start us out? Did you like the movie? Was it any good?
No, there was some things I liked, but I know they kind of cause friction with the EU, but that I never knew. But no, I didn't like it at all. There was just maybe a couple scenes that I really enjoyed, and that was about it.
Well, see, that's the funny thing, because we were talking about this, and I was like, yeah, I didn't really care for 7, but I thought 8 was okay, and you're like, I thought 7 was okay, but I didn't like 8. I was like, well, I mean, it makes it interesting. The biggest problem with 8, look, I actually, when me and Jason walked out of 7, we both sort of had the same feeling of, there's something wrong, and I didn't like it.
Yeah, we both looked at each other and we're like, that wasn't very good. We got out of the theater and we're like depressed that we'd spent 2 hours of our lives in there.
There are not holes in every movie ever made because Phantom Menace is perfect. Jason.
God.
So the point was with 7, it had problems, right?
Yeah.
It just wasn't good. It wasn't a movie. We've had this debate. The problem is when I went to 8, despite the fact that in retrospect I thought about all these massive problems with the film, I actually enjoyed the movie as opposed to just didn't enjoy 7. The 7 kept banking on this weird nostalgia factor of, hey, remember this? Nudge, nudge. Remember the Falcon? Nudge, nudge. Hey, look, it's Han Solo. Hey, look, it's Harrison Ford. He doesn't want to be here.
Like in every movie he's in now.
We gave him so much money, you could tell he doesn't want to be here. Look at it.
Just put him in pajamas.
Gosh, he hated the original trilogy. He argued to get Lucas to kill him in Empire Strikes Back.
That's so sad.
He just didn't.
Yeah, he did. And that's why they froze him in carbonite, because they weren't sure they would be able to get him to come back for Return of the Jedi.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So we got out of watching episode 7, and we both looked at each other and we're like, we've seen that movie before. Yeah. You know, and there were so many things that they did that was just, you know, the start out on a desert planet, end up on the Falcon, go have to take down the Death Star. You know, it was just the same movie again that we'd already seen.
Well, then call in, Chance. You have Skype.
The whole movie
Don't give me this complaint of, I wish I could call in. Defend your horrible opinion.
Yeah, like, episode 7, it was just all not the Death Star, not Tatooine. It was just a lot of that, and it... Ugh.
But it really was!
Oh, it was bad.
But then we both went and we saw episode 8. We saw Last Jedi. And even though we both have, you know, and we talked about this later, and we ripped that movie apart afterwards. The feeling that we got from sitting in the movie and then coming out, and we both looked at each other and we're like, that was an enjoyable experience. We then proceeded to trash the movie.
I wouldn't go so far as to say enjoyable. I said I had fun.
Well, fun is enjoyable.
Excuses. You're going to complain about our opinion and not defend yourself because it's too difficult to get the laptop out from under your bed. All right.
Same.
Look, it had massive problems, but this is about 8. We've already had like weeks worth of podcasts just pissing and moaning about 7.
About 7.
The problem, 8 has problems, and the problems aren't necessarily with whether or not the movie was fun to watch. The problems are with its internal logic.
Yeah.
You when you think about good writing, you think about what you can keep in or take out. And if you can think to yourself, if you removed an entire character, an entire scene, or entire subplot, and adds nothing to the movie, then it shouldn't have been there. Case in point, you could have, believe it or not, taken Rey out of the movie, and it probably wouldn't have been different.
Not the main story.
Which is a huge problem.
You think about what degree of effect or like what she had on the film. It's like, my niece pointed out she made the rocks float in the end so they could escape. That was pretty much like.
But the thing is that somebody could have said, "Oh, hey, I have an explosive here in my toolkit. Here, put it on the rocks. Boom, we're done."
Well, wasn't Leia with them?
Rey was replaced by a grenade.
Wasn't Leia with them?
I think so.
Why couldn't she have done that? So we just removed Rey completely.
She was depressed because her brother just died.
Her force mana was out after the spaceship scene.
She's at 0. No, she's at 3, and it takes 4 to cast, and it's a problem. The subplot at the casino with
that was
everybody's least favorite character and Black Stormtrooper
and Finn.
No, the Asian girl.
Yeah, and Finn.
Finn. Who's the Asian girl's name?
Rose.
Rose.
Yeah.
I would have been more interested to see Rose's sister in the movie than her, because Rose's sister had an interest. She was a strong female character. For the sake of doing something noble and making an effort, Rose was fairly useless. Yeah. She was annoying and added nothing, and they wanted her to be sort of the moral underpinning of this is why we fight sort of thing, and her arguments were bad. Like we can't win by destroying other. What was her phrase?
Oh, it's like a Trudeau quote. When you kill your enemies, they win. It was something different, like but
I was like, no, they stopped being able to kill you. That's the.
No. When you kill your enemies, they're dead. That's kind of the point.
Ross complained about the movie while I find this.
So, I actually liked the casino scene, but only in a world-building sense, and I also liked the Benicio del Toro character.
He was interesting, at least.
Yeah, and I liked that he brought up, more because of my interest in this in real life, the arms trade. But again, I know that goes against EU really bad, but I don't know that stuff. So
we don't win wars by destroying what we hate, but by saving what we love. Didn't what's her name? Admiral Holdo destroy what they hate to save what they love?
Oh, definitely.
The whole crux of the plot of her doing her whole I'm going to ram my ship into the other ship, which ruins the internal consistency of Star Wars completely. Because now that that's broken, because everybody makes a big deal about how cool that is, now that that's happened, you start to think, well, why haven't they been doing that forever?
Yeah,
I'm going to start equipping missiles now with warp drives so that they can just blast through whatever I want them to.
Well, Ross is, why haven't they been 9/11 every ship?
Yeah,
they could get away with.
They could have just used an X-wing to 9/11 the Death Star.
Well, they had like 3 or 4 other smaller, lighter cruisers. They could just kept doing that.
Well, the thing is that they kept
all
losing.
you needed to do was like aim for the center of the Death Star and just be like, we're probably going to hit the hyperdrive or whatever's in there.
Ugh, I hated that. It was a really good looking scene.
Oh, it was an awesome scene.
It was just like, wait, they could have done this so many times.
They kept evacuating people as they lost fuel, and then that big Star Destroyer would blast that ship apart. They could have turned any one of those ships around and flown it through that Star Destroyer.
Or several.
Every single one of them.
It's the worst slow speed chase I've ever seen. They had time to leave, go to another planet, have an entire subplot and adventure at a casino, come back, and still unsuccessfully help the slow speed chase.
And you brought up something that my roommate and I didn't even think of, which I feel really dumb. But why didn't they just like jump 5 feet ahead of him and then shoot him?
Well, the Empire didn't have the problem with the lacking power or fuel. Why didn't the Empire send a few ships ahead and then just attack him from both sides? Like they could have. Like it completely. As soon as you start to think about it, you start to go, "There's something wrong with this movie. Like it doesn't make any sense."
Yep, pretty much.
Ben Swallow. Now that we have Ben Swallow, gosh, he's just proportionately huge, and there's something wrong with his body. Kylo Ren. I couldn't think of his name.
Oh,
his story. He's a little bit more interesting, but he's still kind of a whiny piece of garbage. Like I don't like he was really whiny because people used to justify Kylo Ren with Episode 7 by pointing at Luke. How Luke was whiny. I was like, yeah, but Luke was whiny in the whiny teenager. Kylo's whiny in the kind of pathetic child.
He's a whiny adult, which makes him pathetic. Luke was a whiny adolescent, which makes him normal.
Like Anakin was a whiny adult.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And it sucks because I really like him as an actor, and his character has a lot of opportunities, but they keep throwing it away with really poor writing.
Snoke's death, as Chance points out, was really bad.
Yeah,
I mean,
the thing is
how they did it, but it felt like a waste of character. Like a really interesting character. I wanted to see more Snoke and less everyone else in that room. I just wanted more of Snoke. And then they kill the most interesting person in the room.
Well, the thing is that they could have done, like you said, they could have done so much with Snoke. He's this powerful, evil Jedi. It should have taken Kylo Ren and Rey teaming up together to have this big, epic, pitched battle with him to destroy him. Did that happen? No, we got this, like you said, a throwaway character. He just gets cut in half, and then, Grand Leader Snoke is dead.
You could have had this moment in 8, where they're having this thing and whatever, and Kylo tries to help or save Rey, and then they both escape, and then they come back later and fight him in the third or the 9 or whatever.
Right.
At least that would have been given his character depth, given them a reason to team up together, made it less of it. It's just they could have done it better.
And I didn't mind that he died.
Energy to get this upset anymore. You don't mind that he died?
No, I think they're trying to avoid the, oh my god, we're going to hit every beat that the original trilogy did. But at the same time, it did kind of turn him into a throwaway character completely. I don't want to say completely, but unintentionally maybe. And I think I told you, I would have preferred to see a movie where Rey did team up with Kylo Ren at the end, and they just formed this new empire, and
at least that'd be new.
Yeah,
that'd be different.
Can't do that.
Well, that was the thing when watching 7. It's 7 and 8, I could fairly predict exactly what was going to happen. It was just kind of boring. What made Rogue One so entertaining was because I had no idea what was going to happen. It was just all new. I mean, at least with the prequels, it was unique, new universe, unique new storytelling. Whereas this new trilogy, even though everybody can point at Jar Jar Binks and stuff, I can't go back to the prequels and say, here's this major blaring plot hole. I can do that with 7 and 8 all day long.
Yeah.
They're pretty big. I mean, the prequels are awful, and they have their problems.
Well, they have their problems, but they don't have massive plot holes where you walk out going, they ruin the internal consistency of the movie. Like you can point out stuff like in Phantom Menace. There's no way a planet would stay functioning or stay together based upon its physics for its internal core to be water and monsters. There's no way you can float through the core of the planet through water. Like the core of a planet has to be dense and hot to maintain. Like that's how you get its mass so that it can maintain its gravity. Like there's no way this would work. There's internal inconsistency, but it's not a plot hole. It is just a really stupid thing. The new prequels just have massive plot holes.
There was and it's very famous.
Are you talking Bastila Shan? Bastila Shan is thousands of years ago when compared to the new movies. What are you saying that she's going to be in the... Archer talks sense to Chance. Tell him he's stupid. You were saying, Ross?
Oh, well, the very famous Red Letter Media reviews of the prequels.
Okay.
The Plinkett reviews. I think it was in episode 2. He's like, if he could predict all these things would happen, why didn't he just play the lotto numbers? And it's... you kind of have to wonder. Maybe it would have been cheaper that way, or easier.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just... There was a lot of, oh my god, he figured everything out.
How do bombs fall in space?
Oh god. So dumb.
It could have been a flashback sequence. Are you kidding me? Nobody's going to look back and see this. That moment is only built for the uber nerds who go, I remember that video game and I enjoyed it. A flashback sequence? Now you're just talking out of your backside. That's like me watching Batman and going, gosh, I wish they had a reference to that obscure character, the Lego version, the one that nobody knows. Like, nobody's going to... It does... We're talking completely different universes. Like, the lore doesn't even exist anymore. The continuity doesn't exist from that before.
Didn't they kind of...
They killed the extended universe.
Oh, yeah.
They call it, like, the legendary or myth or something.
Oh, yeah. Kind of like how they're doing Warhammer Fantasy now.
Yeah, well, there's more problems with Warhammer Fantasy. But 8 just had problems. Like, I enjoyed the movie. I thought the fight scene was cool. I didn't think it was the best fight scene that was ever in a movie, like people were saying. It was not even remotely close to Obi-Wan and Darth Maul. It wasn't even remotely close to Episode 3, which was just an amazing fight scene between Anakin and Obi-Wan Kenobi. For people to make it out to be the greatest fight scene out of Star Wars, I was like, it's not. It's kind of awkward.
It was good, mostly because of its brevity. The fight scene in Episode 3 was way too long, to the point where it just didn't make any sense anymore. I mean, it was cool. It was lightsaber porn, but that's about it.
It was the new one. It wasn't.
No, he was talking about 3.
Episode 3. Yeah.
It was lightsaber porn. The problem is it seemed like a mirror fight to some degree, which made it less interesting. I think if somebody had a different kind of lightsaber, it'd been a little bit more dynamic.
You couldn't change the crystals that fast.
I guess. Couldn't put a red in. They're both blue at the moment. We're complaining about Episode 8 and Star Wars in general. Keep up, Chancel. Chancel fill you in. Order, maybe a Phil canvassing Jedi history would be great. There's no way. First of all, they destroyed the extended universe, Chance. So what they ended up doing... So you can't go back and say, well, let's just fill people in on the Jedi history. Like that whole Kyber crystal thing didn't exist before.
Yeah,
Rogue One.
with the new movies coming out, basically everything that came before is no longer part of the Star Wars universe. Even if we talk about
This is starting to feel like that Parks.
The Old Republic and stuff.
Where somebody in the back is sitting there going, well, since Disney owns this,